The story of Jabez, Job Bennett. I am not absent in your suffering. I am the God who enters it, who bends low, who suffers too. I am the God who was broken and yet lives. You will not always understand, but you can always trust. And though you stand in ashes now, know this. Ashes are what I use to grow new things. Jabez Job Bennett was the kind of man everyone respected. He was a successful small business owner in the city of Kelowna, British Columbia. He built a fleet of auto repair shops and put dozens of young men to work, who otherwise might have ended up hustling on the streets. He was a devoted father, a faithful husband who gave generously to charities and even strangers he met. When people spoke of him, they said, if anyone deserves a huge blessing, it's Jabez. Then almost overnight, his world came crashing down. First, his company was hacked, his accounts drained, and contracts canceled. He went from wealthy to bankrupt in a single week. Then tragedy struck harder than steel bars on concrete when his oldest son, bright, college-bound, was caught in a crossfire outside a convenience store. A week later, his teenage daughter overdosed at a party she should never have been at. 2 children, gone before he could catch his breath, his home hollowed with grief. Soon after, sickness hit. Jabez's body broke down from stress and years of pushing himself. Doctors said it was lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease that causes the immune system to attack healthy tissue and organs. Soon he was covered in sores, his strength gone. He couldn't sleep, couldn't work, and could barely move without groaning, leaving him nights long in pain. He called it punishment. He was covered in sores, in and out of hospitals, unable to work, unable to fight. People whispered, guess he wasn't so clean after all. Maybe God's paying him back. Friends came to visit. Even the closest ones, men he'd bailed out countless times, turned their backs. They sat with him in his roach-infested apartment, shaking their heads. You must have done something, Jabez. Nobody gets dragged this low for no reason. Instead of comfort, they spoke judgment. Maybe this is God punishing you, one said. You must have done something to deserve this, said another. Even his wife, weary of watching him suffer, worn thin by loss and hunger, spat at him one night and told him bitterly, why don't you just curse God already? He left you, just let go. But Jabez wouldn't. Broken, fevered, coughing into the night, he muttered. Through tears and clenched teeth, he said, I don't understand this. I've lost everything. Still, he wrestled with questions. He cried out in prayer, not with polite words, but with raw honesty. He screamed in the ceiling when no one was there. Why, God, why let this happen to me? Why take my children, my health, my name? Are you still good? Do you still see me? If you're real, why stay silent? Still, no answer came. Just more nights alone, pills, and more shadows. For months he endured, refusing to abandon faith, though he felt abandoned himself. Stay tuned for part 2.